So let's talk about John 13, 36, 38. We're still in the upper room, and Jesus is now talking about his future. He's going to die, things are going to happen. And Simon Peter, you have to love the guy. He is the one that always steps out and says or does crazy stuff. And he just says, look, I understand all this. He says, but I'm ready to die for you. And there's no question, like he believes it, he means it. He says, I'll lay my life down, I'll die for you, I'll do whatever it takes. And Jesus, being Jesus, like there's lessons in here for us. He just says you're not going to make it through the night. Like he's not going to argue with him, but he's trying to show him that you're not as ready as you think you are. Not to discourage him, not to beat him up, because we see later, we know future, he comes and restores him. But Peter's just not doing a good job of reading himself right here. And he loves Jesus. He believes what he's saying. There's no doubt in that moment. Judas just left. He's like, oh, I'm your ride or die guy. I'm not going anywhere. I'm with you. But the problem is what he feels is not what he's able to live up to. You see, sincerity is not the same as being ready. You can be sincere on a Sunday, ready to charge hell with a water pistol, and by Friday night be struggling. It doesn't mean you weren't real. You didn't have a real moment. It just means like sometimes what we feel and where we are not the same. And Jesus, he sees Peter. Like he just says, listen, I hear you, but the rooster is going to crow after you've denied me 3 times. Think about that. In other words, by the morning when the rooster crows tonight, right now, you're going to deny me 3 times. And that word deny, it's a strong word. It's not just as we read it, like, I don't know the guy. It means to disown, to distance yourself. Like, I'm not attached with that guy. It's not just fear here, it's disassociation. Like 3 times, that's not an accident. That's not a oop. 3 times is like it's complete eradication, complete failure here. And Jesus is not trying to shame him. He's just trying to show him you have a long way to go. He's trying to show him the gap that exists between um, kind of crazy Simon Peter who jumps out on the water, says, ready to fight, doing all that, versus the one that, dude, you're going to face some tough stuff and you're not ready for it. Like, I'm not trying to beat you up. He's trying to expose where he still needs to grow. And so the issue is he has intention, he has conviction, he has boldness, he has emotion, but what he doesn't have is depth. There's no root to him yet. He has this crazy moments. He hasn't faced endurance yet in a trial. He hasn't had his strength tested. And as emotional, as bold, as fun as he is to hang out with, emotion is not the same as maturation. It would be like we go to church and the message really stirs us, right? I'm sure you've been there to where it's like, oh my gosh, or man, the worship was just dialed in and God moved through it and touched your life, or you go to the altar, you pray, and it just feels like there's a shift, right? Like something happened, like man, and you make these like, I'll never be the same again. Like I'm all in. I'll never go back. Like I can't wait. And then the problem is we leave that ecosystem, that upper room, that environment that it's safe for you to say. It's safe. Like there's no demise in there. And then we go out and Monday happens. Pressure hits, environment changes, emotions, they're gone. Temptation is timely, it comes in. And the thing about it is like emotion can be like this and like this within moments in our life. That's why you can't just trust, like, man, I feel so good. I feel, I'm ready. You can't build your identity on what you feel in a moment. You have to build it on how you live consistently developing a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so they leave the upper room. We see this later, and Peter starts distancing himself from Jesus. That's the first move. 3.5 years, he's blood brother. And now he's like starting to distance himself. He stays quiet, he starts to blend in, and then ultimately he denies 3 times. And you have to see, like, denial is the culmination. It started with just a little gap, a little distance. And the truth is, like, failure doesn't start at the collapse. It starts with quiet distance. It starts with just a little room, just a little gap that, if we're not very aware, can become bigger and bigger in our life to create or lead us to places we will literally declare on Sunday, there's no way I could do that. And so there's a few things I think from Simon Peter in this exchange we can take away. And one of them is just stay aware. Like, be honest with yourself. Lying to ourselves. There's two people, two beings, entities we'll never be able to lie to, and that's ourself and God. Like, we always know. And so instead of like, yeah, I'm good, like, instead of saying I would never, why not be honest? Like, I'm struggling a little bit here. Or how might I lie to myself about this? How might I really set up what I'm going to be dishonest about right now, but internally I'm participating with? How might I stay quiet when instead I need to be honest? How might I compromise? How might I drift? These are questions that they become very real and very personable. We have to ask ourselves these, as if Christ was saying, you're not ready, Bob. Like, I hear you, man, I hear you, but you're not ready. And the second one is build relationship, not just moments. Like, don't let your encounter, your experience with Jesus be your Sunday morning little ecosystem thing, or you read the Bible, check a box and all, because that's not going to do it. That's not a relationship. Imagine if Christ was real on the planet now, and you went and hung out with him 9:30 on Sunday morning, and then when you walk out, it's like, all right, cool, check in with you next Sunday, and that was it. Like, that would be weird, right? You're not going to get strong from one message, one chapter, one song, one emotional moment. It's the daily connection. It's daily experiences of reading the Bible, and not to read it, not to check a box, but to learn, like to glean from it, to gain insight, and prayer, like the speaking and the listening, not 3 minutes of prayer like, Santa Claus list, but man, like trying to be real and vulnerable to meet and get to know Christ in deeper ways, but staying close to him in ways that make sense to you. Worship not just to get two fast songs, two slow songs on Sunday, but to express worship to him, how much you love and appreciate him. You don't build strength in the pressure. Pressure exposes you. You have to build it before. And um, when you know there's a gap in your life, don't defend it. Like, that's the worst thing you could do. Instead, it would be much healthier to go, where is the gap in my life? And how do I need to deal with it or face it versus how might it try to show up? And that's where the growth opportunities are. Like, we pray this prayer, right? Lord, make me more like you. And then when he goes, you're not ready, Bob, like your heart's not where you think it is, we want to defend it and argue and all of that. And yet he's trying to answer the very prayer we ask. Lord, make me more like you. And he goes, okay, that right there is not like me. It has to change. And like, getting really honest with this, like, our test is not going to be about dying like Simon Peter faced. It's going to be like more in the moment of, we don't speak up about something we have a conviction about, or we blend in places we probably shouldn't even be, or we back off instead of standing. Like, that's probably the harder test for us of just being a witness for Christ and speaking up in a world that definitely needs somebody to speak up about truth and God and Jesus and things like that. That's where our test will be. And if we're not hanging out with him, we're certainly not going to speak up for him. And so Simon Peter says, Lord, I'll die for you. And Christ just says, you're not going to make it through the night. Not again to crush him, to just show him you're not ready. And so just as a closing question, if pressure hit your life today or in the next couple moments, would your faith, like, would you stand, or would it expose you in some way of something that has become a gap or you haven't dealt with? Like, that's the real takeaway, right? Like, in areas where we're tempted or tested or tried, in pressure moments, do we stand or do we get exposed, an area that still needs to grow? Don't trust your feelings. Trust the life that you're building with Christ. So when it is in trial, temptation, those moments or pressure comes,